TimeClock Plus is the web-based system used by Samford University student employees to report time to be paid. There are several methods for recording time. Unless otherwise instructed, student employees should use the web clock to clock in when they begin working, clock out when they stop working, and to approve time recorded so they can be paid. The web clock can be accessed through the Internet and is compatible with Internet Explorer, Firefox, and Google Chrome. The system is not compatible with Safari. If you were asked to clock in or out using a Mac that only has Safari, you can contact Computer Services at 726-2662 if you need assistance with installing Firefox or Google Chrome. Your supervisor will tell you where and how you will access TimeClock Plus. For example, you may be instructed to use only a specific computer or method to access the system. Carefully follow all instructions from your supervisor as the system tracks the device, web address, and location of each access. Purposefully disregarding instructions, attempting to clock in or out for someone else, or having someone clock in or out for you is a very serious offense. You may be terminated and no longer able to work as a student employee, and you may also be prosecuted for a values violation. So follow all instructions and complete your time yourself. TimeClock Plus records time worked to the minute. You will be paid for all time worked. Time should be recorded on the day and time that it is worked. You should clock in when you get to work and clock out when you leave. If for some reason a correction needs to be made to time from a prior pay period, contact the payroll office at 726-4638 for instructions. Do not attempt to adjust time from the current week to reflect anything other than actual hours worked on the precise day it is worked. For example, if you worked last Saturday but forgot to clock in, you cannot put down that you worked this Saturday to make up that time. This is required by federal law. You must coordinate with your supervisor in order to change your time if it is incorrect. There are several different ways to access the web clock. Your supervisor will instruct you on which method he or she wants you to use. You may access the web clock by clicking on an icon on the desktop, selecting the TimeClock Plus web clock from the favorites list, by going to the Human Resources website at samford.edu/humanresources, clicking on the Payroll tab, and then selecting TimeClock Plus Web Clock. Or by typing timeclock.samford.edu into the address bar of your web browser. Once the web clock logon screen is displayed, select the appropriate company from the drop-down box. Student employees should choose Company 300 Student Employees. Then log in using normal SUID and password. This is your ID and password you use to access your Samford email. Once you have logged in, you will click on the Clock In button to clock in. A confirmation window will appear that displays your name, the date, and time. If everything is correct, press Continue. If you have more than one job, you will see an additional window that allows you to select the correct job code that applies to this clock-in, and then click OK. If you only have one job, you will not see this screen, but just go directly to this, the Clock Operation Successful screen. This screen indicates that your operation was successful. We will click on the OK button to complete the clock-in function. We will verify our clock-in status by looking at the top left corner of the web clock page. When you have completed your work time for the day, you will simply log back into the TimeClock Plus web clock using the method instructed, and click on the Clock Out button. A screen will open asking for confirmation. Click Continue. Then the Clock Operation Successful screen will appear, and we will click OK to complete the clock out operation. At this point, you should approve your time worked for the day by clicking on the View button. In the next screen, click on the View button again to display the option available for viewing. Select hours from the list of options. If your hours are correct, then you will approve them by clicking the box to the left of the time segment displayed. A message will appear stating that you are certifying the time worked is correct and accurate. If you agree that this is correct, indicate this by clicking Yes. You should not approve time for the current day until you have clocked out. After you have approved the current date's time, make sure that every other correct time has been approved. You should not approve time for any segment that displays a missed punch or needs to be corrected by your supervisor. If it has been several days since you have missed a punch or made a note regarding a modification and the correction has not been made, please check with your supervisor to see when they may be able to make the correction so you will be able to approve the entry. Also remember to click on the double back arrows at the bottom of the page to display time worked from previous weeks to be sure all time has been approved. Look for any unchecked boxes to the left of the time segments. Time should be approved at the end of each shift. Prior to the end of the pay period, make sure all time is correct and there are no missed punch times for that pay period and all time has been approved. This is the basics of working the time clock.